Three Valorant agents that were removed from the game. Yes, there were agents that were still in the concept phase that completely got scrapped by Riot, but portions of them still remain through other agents. But a lot of it also got completely removed. Now, let me just be clear on the sources here. A lot of these were data mined and then later confirmed by Morello, which is an ex-lead designer, character designer when it comes to Riot games. And to be honest, there's a lot of cool kind of info when it comes to this video, and it's different than agent concepts because these were actually designed by Riot and at one point were planned to be in Valorant. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first one is Crusader, which was later reworked to Breach, but nope, this is not the exact same character. There was a shield item and a lot more to discuss, so he's not completely lame. For example, he would have had a shield ability which would allow him to block damage and block damage while he's planting the bomb. It was even throwable, and this shield would eventually break. Crusader would also have a throwable grenade with properties that are unknown. He also would have a sword ability. So as you can tell, Crusader was quite the package. So the first thing is that shield ability, right? Back when I first made a video like this on Valorant Curious, it was like 3 years ago. ISO was not a thing, man. ISO was not a thing. A shield ability was insane because at first people were scared that this agent was actually a leak, not a canceled agent, a leak. And people freaked out about a shield in Valorant. They were literally shitting bricks. They were so upset with this idea. But then they realized it was a deleted concept and everyone was literally saying, thank goodness they deleted the idea of a shield because it would be so broken and would destroy Valorant's integrity. Now we have ISO and he's the worst agent in the game. So it's super interesting to look in the past and correlate it to the future. Now, to be fair, this shield would have been massively different. It would block damage and actually break over time. So more like a Reinhardt shield, not a one tick of damage. And it was also throwable, which is insane. So to be fair, the original concept definitely sounded a lot stronger. Imagine throwing down a shield as someone's planting or defusing the spike. Like you are protecting your team and then it would break slowly. So of course, to be fair to everyone's reaction, it was different. But eventually it trickled down into ISO. Something that has not trickled down, and I wonder if it ever will, is a sword ability. The fact Riot was playing with a sword ability, the idea of sword and shield, Crusader, I assume the reason it would trickle down the shield is because you'd have to get up close quarters and one-shot them with a sword. That concept itself doesn't, in my head, it's hard to imagine. Like it's easy to imagine a shield ability, but then to imagine it have health and then someone pushing another player and slashing them, like that don't sound like Valorant no more, bro. That just straight up Overwatch at this point. A sword ability seems very hard to process. The only thing I could think of a sword ability is as an ultimate, you pull out a sword and you sort of dash really far and aggressively through something. So maybe if you aim it at, let's say 3 people, you can dash through 3 of them and they'll die, but it'd be really hard to hit because you'd have to time it. There's a wind up and it'd be in a straight line. That's the only thing I can sort of think of it being kind of shitty, but could be a really cool niche plays. But even then, I don't know. That's the only way I can think of a sword. But if you can think of a sword in a more creative way, please let me know. The last ability was kind of simple. It was actually supposed to be a flashbang before KO was a thing. So a regular flashbang that would bounce, you know, like CSGO style. That was something that we didn't have yet in Valorant. But it was also supposed to be like X-rays grenade. So it was supposed to flash and then also explode or something like that. I didn't fully get the concept, but you know, now we have KO. So again, we've seen Crusader shatter and trickle across other agents. Speaking of shatter, the next agent. Shatter was a prototype of Phoenix, but what's crazy is that he, of course, was leaked and showcased way before Yoru, which is weird. I just said Phoenix. Now, this is the thing, is that at the time he was confirmed to be a prototype of Phoenix, but there are some abilities that sort of carried over later to our boy Yoru. Now, some things that Shatter would have had is a pop flash, which is just an instant pop flash, very similar to Phoenix, so yep, 1-to-1. He was also supposed to have some sort of stun that also damages. So Riot back then was like, right now you think of stun, you think of damages, you think of stuff quite separate, but back then they were mixing and matching things. There was a lot of kind of carryover, right? A flash that also damaged, a stun that almost damaged. Riot was, I think, playing around a lot with damaging based abilities, but then they ultimately ended up dividing them. And then he was supposed to have one other thing. Okay, so he could flash and it would also damage you. He was supposed to have a stun grenade, so he could also stun you. So it's already sounding a little bit different than Phoenix. But then he had something different, a clone. He was supposed to have a clone. This was something that simply wasn't even thought about in the game. Even when Yoru released, it was footsteps. But eventually we know that the rework allowed it to be a clone. Originally, Phoenix Concept was spawning a clone. I wonder if it would have been like a fire clone, but at the same time, it's not even that because you can see how Shatter looks. It's like more like crystally. So now it really does look more like a Yoru prototype, even though back then it was confirmed as a Phoenix prototype. And if you think about it, Yoru has a pop flash. You know what I mean? I think they said it was a Phoenix prototype, but like low key, it was just a Yoru prototype hidden. And then we sort of got this guy in some form or way. The only thing he doesn't have is really the stun. But like, yo, give Yoru stun and a grenade? I'd be down. I'm just saying, I'd be down. The final scrapped agent is Jules. Now, Jules had some leaks, which is Jules' Seeker Bolt, Jules' Shock Grenade, and a third ability called Blink. Now, these are up for debate, but here is my hypothesis. Blink is actually what Jet's dash or maybe updraft ended up being. Maybe Jules used to be able to just actually like blink around like Tracer. I assume it's like Tracer because if you think about it, they had a lot of inspiration from Counter-Strike X Overwatch. So I wonder if it was like Tracer could blink around. Jules' Shock Grenade. I don't know what this is. My thing is that KO's Shock Grenade now? This is way before there was KO and we couldn't speculate about it, where it just like hits 3 times. Or is it more something like Killjoy's Swarm Grenade, but it would shock them instead of damage them? Those are the two things I can think of. And the Seeker Bolt, to be honest, the Seeker Bolt could be something like Sova's Dart, like it got reworked to Sova's Dart, or does it actually seek them? Like straight up, like homing missile seek them and then attach to them, and then like I'm thinking mix like Sova Dart with Cypher Cam Ping and then Sky's ultimate. So you send it out like a sky goo, like a little squid. It will follow. It hits. It attaches. You'd have to detach it, and as it's attached, it's blinking. That's what they make it sound like. Like that's insane, but that's what they make it sound like. This was also data mined, which honestly does look a little bit like Killjoy's turret, since this was supposed to be a scrapped version of Killjoy, and maybe this is just how the turret would have looked like previously. But there's a lot of speculation. As you can see, the handle at the top. A lot of people know the voice lines. Do I need to attach legs to the spike now? And now we have Gecko, but at the time we couldn't speculate this, and I wonder if it was a robot that would plant and defuse the spike for Killjoy. I mean, it fits her character a lot, and considering like that we have Gecko now, back then it sounded too far-fetched to even speculate when I originally made this video like 3-4 years ago, but now we can see that really anything is possible when it comes to Riot. And seriously, I could see this being something where it plants or diffuses. I could see it being a different looking version of Killjoy's turret. I could see it being a larger version of Alarm Bot. It could kind of be countless. It's all up to your imagination. No idea why I said 4, but yeah, it's been like 3 years, and you know what's kind of crazy is that these types of videos where we get information about scrapped agents or abilities is something that way back 7, 8, 9 years ago in the League of Legends days, with the same connection, different connection, sorry, to Riot, we used to ask Riot devs, you know, what type of stuff were scrapped. And to be honest, after originally making this video, I was so excited, and I would go ask all these devs what other things are scrapped. But just like this video has now officially demonstrated, it's the fact that these removed agents, even if they're different kits, styles, and overall end goals, the abilities will actually scatter through. So way back when this was first leaked and we asked for more info, they were hesitant, gave us some, but today they never give anything anymore. When we ask about scrapped abilities or agents, they literally say we can't because they might make their way into the game in the future. It's not a guarantee, but they might. And in this case, we've seen the shield, we've seen like, it's trickled down. We're talking about ISO, clones, shield, Killjoy, like so many things that I just showed you that originally leaks and concepts that they thought they deleted ended up back in the game one way or another. But let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching. Okay.